should know these 20 common mistakes and tips before you travel to Vietnam. Number 1. So if you have to apply for an e-visa in order to enter Vietnam as a tourist, avoid these common application mistakes. 1. Fake website alert. Remember, there's only one official government website for an e-visa application. Don't be fooled by lookalike websites, which could be scams. So applying for an e-visa is very easy. You can do it on your own. Many of my Western friends have applied the e-visa themselves and got the result within 3 to 5 working days. In my opinion, apply for an e-visa at least 15 days before your traveling date is better. Number 2, unmatched passport details such as full name, wrong birthday, or unmatched passport number, and more. My friend got almost turned away at the airport for missing his middle name on the application compared to his passport. Trust me, it's crucial to make sure that all the information matching with your passport to avoid any troubles or hefty fee at the airport. Number 3, invalid passport. Ensure that your passport is valid at least for 6 months and has at least one empty page. So my friend's dad from America, last month he had to stay in Japan and couldn't enter Vietnam because his passport didn't meet Vietnam's entry requirements. Number 4, incorrect entry port. This one is a biggie. The entry port on your visa application must match where you actually land in Vietnam. I've seen travelers get turned away because of this mix-up. Number 5, reapplying for a new e-visa while your current e-visa is still valid. Remember, as long as your visa is valid, you can enter Vietnam at any time within that period. For an example, one of my American friends once reapplied for a new e-visa just because he had to reschedule his flight to Vietnam. Turned out it was totally unnecessary. So don't waste your money and time on a new e-visa if your current one is still valid. Number 6, not having a digital or printed copy of the valid e-visa ready at the immigration when you're trying to enter Vietnam. Remember to carry a printed copy or having a digital backup on your phone of your e-visa. This will help to speed up the process at the immigration in case you need. Number 7, not doubling check your details before hit that submit button for your e-visa application. It's very important to remember to verify all the details and make sure the application details matching your passport details. Number 2, language barrier. In Vietnam, English is not widely spoken outside big cities or tourist areas yet. So learning a few Vietnamese phrases could be useful. Or you can also download the Google Translate app. It will help you to communicate and connect with the local better. Number 3, where to stay in Vietnam. So when I'm in Hanoi, my topics are the Old Quarter and the French Quarter. In Ho Chi Minh City, District 1 is where you'll find me. It's perfect for strolling around and discovering some of the main attractions on foot. In Danang, my favorite area is An Thượng because it's super close to the beach and there are bars, restaurants, pharmacies. Everything is available there for you, especially for a fun night out. But if you're after a more laid-back atmosphere away from the crowds, I think hotels that are closer to Central Peninsulas are perfect for you. And in case if you prefer a blend of city life and touristy buzz, hotel in Hai Châu District and along Danang Street are your go-to places. Regarding booking apps, Booking.com, Agoda, and Airbnb are popular in Vietnam. However, in some area, you might need Google Maps to search for a hotel, motel, or homestay for more options, as in those areas, the host might not know how to set up an online booking page yet. So sometimes you might have to try to type in Vietnamese to look for a place to stay. So Vietnamese word for hotel is khách sạn, for motel is nhà nghỉ, and for homestay is homestay. Number 4, packing essentials. Bring some tissues with you, as some restaurants in Vietnam, they don't have the tissues available and they only sell you the wet wipes at the table. This I experienced last week in Ho Chi Minh City. Next, electrical outlets. So the power supply here is generally 222 voltage. As for the plugs in Vietnam, we typically use the Type C and the Type A. So if your devices use different plugs, you will need a universal travel adapter. You can purchase the adapter here in Vietnam at any computer stores. If you forget yours home, the next one is clothes. Remember, Vietnam's climate varies from the north to the south, so research the climate for specific regions that you're planning to visit or the activities you want to do and pack accordingly. Number 5, storage service at the airport. In Ho Chi Minh City, you can find it near the column 12 of the international arrival at Tân Sơn Nhất Airport. I used it last week when I wanted to explore the city during my 10 hours of layover in Ho Chi Minh City. Regarding the one in Hanoi, you can find further information at this website. You can call them directly to check and confirm the price and everything beforehand, because I have not used the service there yet, so I cannot make any suggestion or comment about their service. But I think it's very easy for you to talk to them on the phone. Number 6, train traveling tips in Vietnam. To answer the first question, where should you book a train ticket? So personally, I usually use 12.go Asia to book the train ticket, and so far I have had good experience with them. They're quick, reliable, and they offer slightly better prices. The next question, which cabin should you choose? If comfort and privacy are your top priorities, then you should go for the VIP train cabin. It's a step above the first class, offering more spacious setting with just 2 beds per cabin. It's perfect if you need to work, sleep, or just enjoy some quiet time. But remember, the spots are limited, so book early to secure your bed. If the VIP cabin isn't available, the first class is your next best bet. But keep in mind, you'll be sharing the space with other 3 passengers. I guess it's not too bad. And if you end up in the second class, remember to try to book for the bottom bunks. Why? Because the top bunks are pretty cramped. You can hardly sit up straight. However, they're fine if all you need is a place to crash. If you are looking for comfort, aim for the VIP train cabin. Number 7, traveling by sleeper bus tips. So where can you buy a bus ticket in Vietnam? You can buy the bus ticket at the bus station if you want, but I think it's better for you to ask your hotel or resort to help you book a ticket. I think it will help you to save times and more comfortable. And the third one is, so when you're traveling by bus, if you have a pair of flip-flops or sandals, you should bring them, because in some sleeper bus, they will ask you to take off your shoes, and those footwear will make this a breeze. Number 8, renting motorbikes in Vietnam. So let's talk about the license requirements. For electric bikes and motorbikes up to 50cc, no license is needed. However, for anything above 50cc, depending on where you're from, you may need an international driving license recognized by the Geneva Convention. And also, it's very important to check your brakes before setting off. Make sure that you're familiar with it, because the brakes here could be different from those in your country. Number 9, avoid this when you travel by plane in Vietnam. This happened to my best friend because she lost 30 million Vietnam dong, and I don't want this to happen to you. Just don't leave your valuable things in the checked luggage when traveling by plane in Vietnam. So what happened was my friend lost 30 million VND after putting her money in her checked luggage when flying from Australia back to Ho Chi Minh City and Danang. And no, she has never been able to get it back, even though she tried to contact the responsible department. Number 10, Vietnamese banknotes. Know these common mistakes to avoid losing money. So in the previous video, I mentioned that carrying cash is always a smart move when you're in Vietnam and shopping around. And here are some common mistakes for you to avoid. Number 1, similar looking notes. Keep an eye out for these notes pairs, 20,000 and 500,000, 10,000 and 100,000. They can look deceptively similar. It's easy to confuse them at a quick glance. Second, Vietnam polymer notes that can be sticky when they are new or wet, so always make sure you double check and count your cash carefully before making the payment. It's a simple step that can save you from overpayment. Number 11. International payments in Vietnam. It's wise for you to carry your Visa card and MasterCard at the same time because sometimes one works but the other doesn't. Also, don't forget to double check that some places might charge you from 2 to 3% on the top of your bill. That happens even for me as a Vietnamese trying to pay by card at some places. And based on what I've read, it's illegal for them to do that. So you should check with the restaurant or hotel first if you wish to pay by card to avoid any disappointment later. Although some places are starting to accept Apple Pay and Google Pay, but it's not widespread yet. Now I want to talk about the international digital transfer. If you're looking to pay for a substantial amount of money and prefer cash-free and all of your cards just don't work, you can consider having the Wise app ready on your phone. You can transfer money directly to the local banks with a SWIFT code. I like Wise Transfer a lot because of their fast transfer. Number 12. Where should you buy a SIM card in Vietnam? In the previous video, I mentioned that my top pick for SIM card in Vietnam is Viettel. So as you might already know that you can grab a Viettel SIM card right at the airport. But if you forget to get one or can't find one there, no worries. Just head to a Viettel store later. You can Google the place or ask your hotel staff to point you to the nearest one. And remember to bring your passport when you visit a local store to buy a Viettel tourist SIM card. So another thing is you might wonder if the Viettel SIM card will fit your iPhone 14 Pro or even 13 Pro. Absolutely yes. So Viettel offer nano SIM cards which are just perfect for these models. That's exactly what I'm using on my iPhone now. Number 13. Convenience stores in Vietnam that are similar to 7-Eleven. So there are 7-Eleven stores in Vietnam, but is not popular yet. But you'll find several convenient alternatives where you can pick up all the essentials. Check out Winmart, Circle K, Full Market, and Kmart. There are a lot of options around. You can easily find them on Google Maps. Number 14. Visiting islands in Vietnam. Remember, not all islands in Vietnam have an airport. So if you're thinking about taking a speedboat to one of the Vietnam's beautiful islands like Cham Islands or Lý Sơn Islands, here's something important to keep in mind. The weather can be a game changer. If there's strong wind or bad weather, you might find yourself unable to return to the mainland according to your original plan. Please remember to always check the weather forecast and have a flexible plan in place when you're venturing out to an island. And remember not to carry too many luggages on the speedboats, as the boats are usually fit for a certain amount of passengers and acceptable bags. If you bring a lot of luggage, you might cause the inconvenience for the other passengers and for the whole safety of the boat. Number 15. The safety tips and scams. As you may know, Vietnam is relatively safe for travelers, but there are a few notes for you from my own experience. 1. Please don't feed the wild monkey. Number 2. Be cautious if you're a solo female traveler walking or riding a bike alone on empty streets late at night. Remember, it's always better to be safe and stick to well-lit populated areas. I got approached by 2 creepers once last year, and it was scary for me as a girl who was riding a bicycle alone on the street at midnight. 4. Guard your belongings in public areas and even in your hotel. Always watch your belongings or keep them in a safe place. For instance, leaving your valuables unattended on the beach or to go swimming is a no-go. 5. Scams. There are many videos on YouTube talking about scams in Vietnam out there. You can watch them for further information. To me, I have only experienced taxi scams, shoes policing scams, and photo scams. Number 16. Is it mandatory to have a travel insurance before entering Vietnam? No, not yet. But getting one is a smart move because it offers you a peace of mind, especially if you're taking some adventurous activities like the motorbike tour or diving tours. Number 17. If you ever find yourself in a situation where your belongings are lost or stolen while traveling in Vietnam, here's what you need to do immediately. Report the incident to your hotel, local tourism management board, or the police as soon as possible. They're your first line of support in such scenarios, and the quicker you report, the better assistance you'll receive. And remember, it's always wise to have backups of your important personal documents and valuable items. This could be in the form of pictures or photocopies. In case of any mishap, these backups can be incredibly helpful when you need to provide the proof or for the replacement purposes. And remember that acting swiftly and having the right backups can make a significant difference in resolving such unfortunate situation effectively. Number 18, here's some extra tips for you. 1. Here's something to remember. Google reviews aren't always accurate. Take it from my own experience. I once visited a hair salon that boasted a 5-star rating on Google. You'd think that's a guarantee of the quality, right? Well, not quite. They completely botched my long hair. So, a word of advice, take online reviews with a grain of salt and maybe ask your hotel for their recommendation. Number 2, don't drink tap water even at your hotel. Number 3, mindful parking. So, when you're zipping around on a motorbike, remember not to park just anywhere. The police might reallocate your bike if it's parked improperly. Take some time to learn about the specific parking rules and hours, especially in popular areas like the Hanoi quarter or Ho An Old Town. It will save you the hassle of tracking down your bike later. Number 4, cash regulations. If you're carrying a lot of cash while entering or exiting Vietnam, be prepared for some extra paperwork at customs. There's a limit to how much cash you can carry without declaring it. So to avoid any delays, it's best to familiarize yourself with these regulations. Number 19, leaving Vietnam. Tip for anyone heading to the airport in Vietnam: always keep an eye out for the rush hour traffic. I learned this hard way once I got caught in a massive traffic jam in Ho Chi Minh City, and you guessed it, I missed my flight. And it ended up costing me an extra ticket. So to avoid this, plan to leave well ahead of your flight time, and especially during the peak traffic hours. Trust me, it's better to wait a bit at the airport than to watch your plan to leave without you. Number 20, when traveling in Vietnam, it's crucial to keep a list of emergency contacts handy. Here's a quick rundown of the numbers you should have. 1. Your hotel's contact. Always have your hotel's number on hand. They're your immediate point of contact for any emergency because they can help you to connect with the local authorities, including the police, firefighters, and medical services. Number 2, your embassy. Keep the contact details of your country's embassy in Vietnam. They are a crucial support system in emergencies, in particularly for legal matters or if you lose your travel documents. Number 3, there are other emergency contacts that I link in the description below. You can save them in your phone book for your future Vietnam trip. Happy travels and see you in the next episode. Bye!